Good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday. It's July 15th. Hope you're well today. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. We're going to get started with today's live stream. We'll do a quick daily market update. We'll just do a quick before market close video update, and then we'll jump into some ticker requests. Going to make this live stream public if you haven't noticed already. Usually we do these for POW members privately, and we do it usually about 30 minutes before the market close, Monday through Friday. But going to get started here in about 30 seconds. We'll give it another half a minute or so for people to join us. All right, I see we have some people joining us, so welcome to the live stream. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. We're going to get started here with the before market close video. We'll do some ticker requests, so if anybody does have any ticker requests from the public, normally we do these videos private, and the before market close video we do Monday through Friday for Pow Group private members, but going to make this one public today, so if you do have a ticker request, make sure to place them inside the chat with the ticker and the exchange, and we'll get started. Before we look at the charts, if you could smash the like, helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell to be notified on any future updates. We'll take a quick look at the crypto space, and then we'll jump into the broader market, and then we'll take a look at some individual names, the MJ space, and after the exciting day in MJ land yesterday, pretty much crickets all day today, and hourly consolidation taking place across all of our MJ names, and it was super exciting yesterday. Obviously, everybody was excited and then just relieved to see, the pain and the blood stop. But we know that we prove absolutely nothing until weekly and monthly uptrends are confirmed. So I just want to get that out of the way. But for the moment, we need to just kind of realize that MJ is a long-term play, right? We're not going to it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. I see a lot of people yesterday, my phone was blowing up. I couldn't, pick my phone up without having, 10 unread messages or notifications. And then today, it's just crickets, right? So I think what most people tend to do is have unrealistic expectations. That's one thing we need to do is manage our emotions and our expectations. Have realistic expectations. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. The whole idea of Pow Group Pursuit of Wealth is that it doesn't happen overnight, right? It's a journey. That's the whole thing in a nutshell on why I even created Pow Group, was that, it's not something that is going to come easy. And if it were easy, everybody would be doing it, right? So kudos to you for sticking it out. Most people quit before they even give themselves a chance. So taking a look at the crypto space here, we are seeing some momentum right now. Ethereum standing out here, but we're not really that bullish. We're bouncing for the third day in a row now. But essentially, we're still not able to get over key resistances. We're not confirming any clear uptrends here. We could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, but we have volume dropping off here as well on the daily time frame. So again, a little lackluster in terms of a bounce here, and we still have a weekly bear flag on watch. And if we take a look at the target, this weekly bear flag here from high to low, we take the measured move, and it says we're targeting down around the $11,000 area. So it's entirely possible that we do end up playing out, that bear flag plays out. We could even see another bear flag here, anything under 0.382, and that's likely going to match up to around the same area. So if we just zoom out here, but around the 12,000. So I think we could easily see 12 to 11. It doesn't mean we're going to get there, right? Again, this is just technical analysis. I'm not saying that it will or it won't happen. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but the odds are saying that we're likely heading for another leg down, and likely heading to that $12,000 to $11,000 area. That was also the target of the Head and Shoulders on the monthly time frame. And then if we zoom into the daily, again, what I've been saying for a long time is that Bitcoin has been leading the market. We started daily consolidation, we consolidated for 3 days in a row, and then we started the bounce for 3 days in a row. What happened to SPY? SPY started its daily consolidation about a day later, and now we're starting the daily bounce. So again, we're starting to see, we're seeing that continued correlation between all of crypto, the S&P 500, and tech sector. And Tesla has been another name that has been following crypto as well, because Tesla holds a lot of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, right? They made more off their Bitcoin purchase one quarter than they did off selling cars. So for those that say that crypto doesn't matter, or crypto is, you can have your own opinion about it, whether you agree with it, disagree with it, like it, dislike it. The fact is that it matters to a stock like Tesla. Some people say, I can't believe you're comparing Bitcoin to Tesla. What do they have to do with each other? Well, Tesla holds Bitcoin on its balance sheet. It has a a major influence on what it does for Tesla, right? If Bitcoin goes up, that helps Tesla, and they're very correlated to the NASDAQ, right? Both of those tickers, right? So that's why we watch these correlations and we do these market updates, is to get a general feel of how the overall market is responding. But again, we're not seeing that much, it's pretty lackluster. That we're not really seeing anything super impressive from the bulls. It's just basically stopping the bleeding, but we're not even able to confirm a daily uptrend here on SPY. We had this daily equilibrium with the low, high, higher, low, lower, high, higher, low tightening range. We actually had a bear break, so you just see that start to tighten up, and then we came out and we lost that, but it could have been a bear trap, as we are going from a bear break of this equilibrium pattern right back into this pattern, and we're now in the middle of this range. So essentially, it's a 50-50 chance at this time, right? If we take a look at the chart, what the chart's saying, we're about 2.5%, 2.25% away from resistance, and we're about 2.78% away from support. So again, we're pretty much right in the middle of that range. And the fact that the S&P 500 can't even confirm a daily uptrend from here, is a little, again, lackluster. It's a little concerning, the fact that, we're beaten down this much and we still can't confirm a daily uptrend. The only thing that we could potentially do here is we are set up for a potential weekly trend change with the low high of the bounce, and now we're breaking to a lower low on the weekly, which just means we're starting weekly consolidation. So now we look for a higher low compared to the low there at 362. So if we hold 362, form this higher low, and then break resistance here at the high of the bounce at 393.16, that's going to confirm a weekly uptrend. And that's what we need to see to be confident that the broader market's going to be setting at least a temporary bottom. And then once we confirm a weekly uptrend, we'll watch for the monthly bounce to get underway. And then we'll likely see a pretty big monthly bounce once we do start to bounce, because we have no monthly resistance up until about 460 on the S&P 500. So again, a little bit concerning that we can't even confirm a daily uptrend, let alone a weekly and a monthly. But we do have the opportunity here to change the daily and weekly trend all in one go. If we break above that key resistance at 393.16, that's going to confirm a daily and a weekly uptrend, in my opinion. If we take a look at the dollar is super important as well, as the dollar is maintaining its weekly uptrend. So the fact that the S&P 500 is in a weekly downtrend, we can automatically assume the opposite for something like the dollar, right? The DXY, which is inversely correlated. So when something like stocks and the S&P 500, which is a benchmark for the biggest 500 stocks in the world in the U.S., we would look and we would expect the opposite, right? And we've been holding EMA 12, and we actually had a weekly bull flag and just holding that stair-step pattern with that higher low and higher high pattern. And at the moment, on the daily time frame, we are overbought. We're overbought on the weekly time frame, and we're overbought on the monthly time frame. So one would think that we're likely going to top out soon. We have no monthly support until all the way down at 94 here on the dollar, which would imply about a 12% drop just to get back to those monthly support levels, and we'd still technically be in a monthly uptrend. That's it's inevitable. We know that the pullback's coming. Does that mean we can't go higher from here? Absolutely not. In my opinion, we have resistance at, I think it was 109.70. Let's just zoom out here to the weekly time frame. We are approaching some key resistance here. So it was 109.77. Yeah. So 109.77, how high did we get? 109.29. So we're getting extremely close. And like I said, overbought on monthly, weekly, and daily. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion, before we have a pretty sizable pullback on the dollar. And that will result in a pretty big move, in my opinion, for stocks and crypto alike. So again, Tesla starting its daily bounce today. Again, kind of following Bitcoin, right? It's kind of been bouncing the last 3 days. We broke to a higher high here on July 13th. It was an inside bar, now breaking to a higher high. It's fairly similar to the Bitcoin chart, but Bitcoin broke to a higher high every single day. But the overall trend for the last 3 days has been up. And again, usually we see Bitcoin move, then Tesla, then the S&P. Why? Because Bitcoin, there's a ton of it on Tesla's balance sheet, and then there's a ton of Tesla inside of the S&P 500 as a weighting in that index. So we see sort of a chain reaction between them. We could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross here on Tesla as well. And we do have earnings coming up. Earnings call will be on Wednesday next week. We'll want to see official confirmation. I haven't seen whether or not it'll be in the morning or in the afternoon, but I assume in the morning. But we should have earnings on the 20th next week on Wednesday, and then the regular stock split is going to be voted on, I believe, on the 4th of August. So this is something that we could see leading into the next couple of weeks. And again, the fact that, you know, we're seeing stock splits, Amazon doing a 20 for 1, you know, it starts to raise an eyebrow, right? We start to wonder, are they doing all of these splits to make it easier for retail to buy before they really crash the market? And everybody's probably like, what the hell are you talking about? They've already crashed the market. Well, it's going to crash more from here. Well, absolutely it could, right? We have a head and shoulders potential here that I'm watching out for here on Tesla. And again, we have this monthly bearish RSI divergence where we're breaking to lower highs and lower lows and then higher lows and higher highs in the price action. Yes, we are down quite a bit from the all-time high there. We're down about 50%, but in my opinion, we can go a lot further than that. And again, if we're heading to monthly oversold here, we're nowhere near monthly oversold. And it's entirely possible that that's where we're heading because of how extended we had gotten to the upside. And if we take a look at this head and shoulders, the measured move of this head and shoulders to bring us down to about $200, the low 200s on Tesla using the logarithmic scale here. So just be prepared, right? We know that it's entirely possible that tech and the S&P 500 may enter a multi-year bear market, and it's entirely possible that we may not hit new all-time highs for the next 5 to 10 years, right? We've been in a bull market really since 2008, since the financial crisis. And, you know, 14, 15, what are we going to do? 16 years of being in a bull market. I wouldn't be surprised if we, you know, drop to levels sort of like this on the S&P 500. If we come down, see this .com fractal sort of play out similarly, which it pretty much has been, which is quite impressive. But again, it doesn't follow it, you know, down to the second, the minute, the day, the week, whatever. But the overall trend is similar, and we're likely heading further down. And again, if we see a multi-year bear market, that's, you know, 2 years, and then we finally start a bottom, and then it takes, you know, maybe 5 to 8 years to come back up, right? So we could be seeing something like this where we just trend to lower highs and lower lows for the next couple of years. And then we come up, nothing goes just straight up right back to a straight line. So what we would expect is, you know, a couple of years of this, and then maybe we come back up and we form a higher low, we come back down, you know, we go in waves, or, you know, we form an uptrend and we come right back, or we could even go lower than that and then start the recovery, right? So again, the fact that we've been in a bull market for over 15 years, I think it's entirely possible that it may take a couple of years to bottom out. And then once we bottom out, it could be another, you know, 5 to 7 years before we see new all-time highs again. Again, when the S&P 500 is accustomed to an 8 to 10% annual return, when we go up on the S&P 500 using the low there of the C19 low, I don't know why this isn't working here. There we go. So 123% gains, right, in a couple of years. Well, when we're accustomed to 6 to 8% return, and we're up 120% on an index like the S&P 500, and normally a good return's, you know, 8%, well, we can probably expect max pain as a result, right? We had max euphoria, max, you know, the government stepping in, printing trillions of dollars, and now they're starting to ramp up rates and not printing any trillions of dollars anymore, right? So they're propping it up artificially, and in my opinion, it's a controlled demolition, in my opinion. They knew exactly what they were doing when they were printing all that money. Now they're blaming it on a lot of things that, yes, may be contributing to it and may not be making things better, but they certainly are not going to take responsibility because it'll hurt them come election time, right? So in Congress, of course, they're going to blame it on other things but themselves, right? But we know that 90%, if not more, of the reason why we're seeing inflation is because of all the printing that they did to inflate the economy, right? And you can only do that for so long. Take a look at some of our individual names on the day today. We got some movers and shakers on the bear list. We have WNRS, MVMD, and EH. On the bull list, we've got BYND, Hive, and Netflix. So we're starting the monthly bounce here on BYND, and I've been saying this. I said, what a great trade if we had a monthly inside bar bull break, and that's exactly what we got. So even if you just entered on that monthly inside bar bull break, you're up about 25%, and we have no resistance all the way until EMA is there at 112% and 200%. So easily 100 to 200% move, and then realistically we have no resistance all the way up here till about 160, which is about a 480% move just from that monthly inside bar bull break. So what a great trade that one was. It's daily bull flag as well. So if we just take the low to the high, You use your 0.32 Fibonacci retracement. It's pretty much a daily bull flag to perfection. We held that $29 area, came down, formed support. This is the flag. And then we take the measured move, and then this will tell you how far we can potentially expect this run to take us. So you just take it from the low of that pullback and then extrapolate that out. We'll grab a horizontal ray, and you can see we're targeting about $42 on BYND. And you knew this thing was due for a massive bounce at some point soon, right? Hitting monthly oversold, no monthly resistance until all the way up at 160. But off the absolute low there, we're currently up about 70%. So congrats to the bulls there. Take a look at MJ. So again, not the day everybody wanted to see. Tilray up 22% yesterday in 1 hourly candle, and then back down over 10% today, double digits. NOVC, VLNS, Tilray leading the decline today on the bull list. We have WIB, PCLO, and Fire and Flower. But again, yesterday we knew that we were getting extended, right? And this is an example of why we should be skeptical. Okay, so we gave that whole move back here on HMMJ, but as an example, let's use Tilray. So Tilray, all that move came from 1 hourly candle. So when we bounced 22% in 1 hourly candle. We had no support on that hourly candle formed, which means when you don't form any support and you have a big move like that, usually we drop just as fast, right? If not faster. And if we don't form any support on the way up, then this is what happens, right? You end up seeing an elevator down, right? So elevator up, elevator down. Sometimes you see stair step up and still elevator down, right? So we know that if we elevator up, it could, the elevator could break on the way down, and you're tumbling, right? We could even see EMA 12 and 26 to tumble even further. We can see that bear cross here, insinuating more downside. And again, if we take a look at HMMJ, gave the whole move back. So Tilray is standing out as one of the stronger ones, as it's still about another 6% away from the bottom there from when that move started, when that news broke on the Senate. It's a daily inside bar still at the moment, so just a tightening range. And if we just go back here on the hourly time frame, look at see in this scenario here, right? When we had higher lows and higher highs, we came down, we formed another higher low and higher high, and then we came down and we didn't drop straight down. We formed a little bit of a flag here, but in this instance, it was just straight down, right? Because we had no support. Didn't even flag. We're starting to flag a little bit here now, and like I said, that EMA 12 and 26. But like I said, from the top of that bounce, right? If you're FOMOing in, they just dropped it another 13%. So those who FOMOed in yesterday at $3.50, or even the high of the day there at 380. It's now down another 14%, right? So this is what you get by chasing the herd mentality, right? When something goes up or something goes down, and you're selling because it's going down, or you're buying because it's going up, you're trying to follow the herd. You're just buying on emotion, and and of course you want to feel good about what you just bought, right? If somebody buys a stock or a crypto and you buy it and it starts going down, well, you don't feel good about it anymore, right? And then you're more apt to sell it. But again, that's why it's so important to do your own research, understand, that price is just a construct of our imagination. And these prices, it's just numbers on a screen, right? They don't actually mean what the value of the company is today, right? That's why we have things like intrinsic value, book value, price to earnings, so that we can evaluate different valuation metrics to figure out what the actual value of the company is, right? So when you're looking at Tilray, for example, well, when we shot up all the way to $67, we'll go to the monthly chart here. When we shot all the way up to $67, obviously we got extended to the upside, right? And just like we got extended to the upside, we're getting extended to the downside. And price is, in my opinion, a distraction, because when people think that the prices are low, nothing's worth owning. But quite the contrary. When prices are going down, that's when I'm looking to load up for the long term, because I understand some very basic principles, right? MJ isn't going anywhere. In fact, MJ hasn't even really gotten started. It's still illegal. I see so many people saying, I've been waiting 4 years, I've been waiting 5 years. Well, the U.S., the most important country in the world, still hasn't even legalized it yet, right? And then once they legalize, it's going to be another 5 to 10 years before we really hit mass adoption and critical mass, right? So you need to think about that. How long is it going to take for the US to legalize? And let's say they do in the next 1 to 2 years. Well, then it's going to take another 5 to 10 years before it really reaches its maximum potential, right? So I think the biggest problem that most people have is they didn't set realistic expectations and time frames, and they either invested way too much money, they didn't diversify, they invested way more than they were willing to lose, they didn't save some money on the cash, they didn't hedge with a short position on the S&P 500. There's so many things that you could have done, but to me, I think the most important thing is just not having unrealistic expectations, right? It's that get rich quick mentality or that instant gratification, right? We have to realize that MJ is still very, very immature market, right? If we look at Canada, we don't even have vaporizers yet in Quebec, and barely edibles. Edibles just started, right? We don't have vaporizers. We still have a 5 milligram limit in Quebec. There's still a 10 milligram limit in all of Canada per pack, and 30 grams on every order, right? So we don't even have it in restaurants and bars and events yet where you can go and purchase beverages and things like that, which is coming. And there's even drink limitations right now. So there's so much growth just to be had in Canada, let alone the most important country in the world, the United States, which is still federally illegal and on the list of federally illegal controlled substances, right? So once we can get that descheduled, and then safe banking, right? There's so much potential. And actually, let's just I want to bring up Fintel here. I was looking at Tilray today, and if you don't understand that financial institutions do not want you to win, they do not want me to win, they don't want any of us to win, because they want to remain in power and they want to gain even more power, right? And they have the most money, and of course it doesn't like my pop-up blocker. Give me 2 seconds. I'll get it going in another browser here. So let's take a look at Tilray here. Nothing in life happens without these major financial institutions that I'm about to show you. And if we take a look at basically any MJ stock, and we're taking a look at Tilray because it's the leader in the space, has the highest market cap, and it's also listed on a major exchange, right? So either the NYSE or the NASDAQ. Now, once all of these these financial institutions like Goldman Sachs and Citadel and BlackRock, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, once all of these companies and these banks and these huge financial institutions come to MJ in the US, we're going to see, Trulieve trade, $10 million on average a day? It's going to be 10 billion, right? And then, maybe 100 billion, right? I think Tilray in one day did $2.5 billion traded in one day, right? So eventually, Trulieve is going to have all of these financial institutions playing in it. And the reason why MJ is down right now is because of these institutions, because they were shorting it. They were flipping net short and shorting, the ever living hell out of MJ at the high of February 2021. So I see all these people that are so fed up with MJ and companies, and it's not the companies that you should hate, right? It's these market makers that you should hate, because as we know, price gets extended to the upside and it gets extended to the downside. That's why I think that prices are mostly fake, and it's just nothing but fear and euphoria, right? Things get just absolutely ludicrous to the upside, and it makes no sense, right? How many times did people say that it makes no sense when Tilray hit $300 and then $67, right? And they were, everybody saying the price to earnings multiple of Canopy was, atrocious. And even, take a look at what happened to tech in the dot-com days. They were able to drop Amazon 95%, right? And it looked pretty bad back then too. And keep in mind, they weren't selling something that was federally illegal in the US, right? So the fact that this is, I would say, the most manipulated market on the planet, these are the people that you should hate. These are the people that you should be angry with. You shouldn't be angry that your investment's down 90% and mad at the company, because the company, it's just like any other industry. They did the same thing to Amazon, and guess who did it? These same financial institutions, the exact same ones. And they do it. They just move from one to the next, and it's rinse repeat. They've done it with tech. They've done it with crypto. All of these company or these institutions are heavily involved in crypto as well. If you take a look at the SEC chairman right now, he used to work for Goldman Sachs for 20 years. He's worth about $100 million. He used to teach a course about cryptocurrency at MIT, and now he's the head of the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission in the US. Why? Because he's a banker's puppet. They put him in there for the incumbents, right? The status quo, who they want to slow the industry down. So they send one of their banker friends, right? And, he starts to teach at MIT, he starts to get, his foot in the door. And then, they put all their lobbying efforts into getting him into a point of power. And now he's the head of the SEC. And guess what we know about JP Morgan? Fined billions. JP Morgan to pay almost $1 billion in fine to resolve different disputes with gold and silver. So they've been accused of spoofing the market. They essentially just pay $1 billion fine, but if they netted, $5 or $10 billion, oh sure, we profited $9-10 billion off of that market manipulation. Of course, we'll pay you $1 billion in a fine, right? So again, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with financial crooks, is what we're dealing with, right? This is the manipulation that all markets have. These people right here. You got Citadel, which is also behind the Terra Luna crash. You've got Bank of America. You got Morgan Stanley. You got Bank of America again. Goldman Sachs, Vanguard, which is a huge company. Bank of Montreal, National Bank of Canada, BlackRock. Those financial institutions. If you look up their assets under management, it's well over 20 trillion with a T. 20 trillion, and you're wondering, how can they get these prices down 98%? How can they get Tilray down 98%, 95% in a year and a half since February 2021? It's because they have $20 trillion to manipulate the market with, right? And JP Morgan even told its clients that it wasn't allowed to trade certain MJ stocks, or I'm pretty sure it was all MJ stocks. I don't use them as a brokerage, but they're restricting this from their clients. And they did the same thing with crypto. And guess what they're doing with crypto now? They're trying to offer custody, and they're getting their systems set up and trading platforms to offer crypto. Oh, that makes sense. They didn't like crypto when they couldn't profit off it. But now that they're set up to profit off it, they like it again, right? So again, this is what we're dealing with here. And you can't trust them as far as you can throw them. But taking a look at the rest of the sector here. So yeah, NOVC, Tilray, VLNS leading the decline of the bull list. Like I said, we had WIB, PCLO, and Fire and Flower. On the American side, we had LOWL, IIPR, and CXXI on the decline. On the bull list, we had SHWZ, NBEV, and TAUG. So we did mention yesterday that MSOS, so American MJ, has been standing out as stronger. We already confirmed a daily uptrend. We're still in a daily uptrend. As long as we hold the low here at 1054, the daily uptrend remains with the low, high, higher, low, and higher high. So if we lose this higher low here at 1054, we lose the daily uptrend. But like I said, just looking at MSOS and then HMMJ gave that whole move back. And we didn't even confirm a daily uptrend yesterday, so we're still stuck here. And at the moment, you're looking at a bit of a descending triangle here, but we are at a bottom of a bear market. In my opinion, we're getting very close. So I'd say it's actually more of a pennant. So you could just draw it out like this. And we'll see which way this breaks. But we're getting close. And like I said, a little bit weaker here in comparison because we didn't even confirm a daily uptrend. We had the opportunity. We had the low, high, higher, low. When we tried for a higher high, didn't get it. And here we are breaking yesterday's low. So we're losing the low of yesterday. And MSOS is a daily inside bar, nowhere near losing its low from yesterday. Still about 6% away. So still very strong in a daily uptrend. Could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well. See if we have any ticker requests. I know it's been pretty quiet today. Like I said, after the day we had yesterday, I think everybody kind of woke up and was pretty much on the wrong side of the bed from the second they woke up because, everybody, like I said, everybody was finally hoping that this was a pump and dump in MJ. It wasn't another pump and dump in MJ, and turns out it was just another pump and dump. And like I said, we need to remain skeptical until we confirm weekly and monthly uptrends. These daily uptrends are great, right? This is step number one. We still need two more steps. So we still need to zoom out to the weekly Now we're starting the weekly bounce, but guess what? It's just a weekly bear flag at the moment. So bear flag just means that we usually come down and we form a flag, and then we see another leg down, right? So at the moment, there's still a lot of work to do. We're just barely starting the daily or the weekly bounce. We still need to come up, top out, form a higher low, and then a higher high, confirm a weekly uptrend. That's step number 2 of 3, complete. And then we need to do step number 3, which is zoom out to the monthly, start the monthly bounce, and then change the monthly trend with a higher low and higher high. So again, I've said this yesterday, we've got months of work ahead before we change any, before we're absolutely confident. A ton of people asked me yesterday, is this the reversal we've been waiting for? Is the bottom in now? And I said, it's too early to tell. It's great that MSOS is confirming daily uptrend here, but again, we know that bulls prove absolutely nothing until weekly and monthly uptrends are confirmed. And like I said, step 1 done. Now we need step 2 and step 3. And like I said, it's gonna be months, right? If you need to change a monthly trend, what does that mean? You need to come up, form a high, and then a higher low, and then a higher high, right? That's going to take multiple candles, right? So that could be December, January before we get that, right? If we just take a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months out is December, 6 months is January. So if we haven't even started the monthly bounce yet, let's say we start the monthly bounce next month. Well, next month or the month after that, we would probably top out maybe the 3rd month. Then we would still need to come down, form a higher low in the 4th, 3rd or 4th month, and then followed by a higher high in the 5th or 6th month or something like that, right? So it could be another 5 to 6 months before we confirm monthly uptrends. So again, having realistic expectations, not investing any more than you're willing to lose. Diversification, not just owning one MJ stock, but owning a collective, owning some Canadian, owning some American, owning some retailers, some picks and shovels, right? Those that actually seed to sale and touch the product and manufacture it and cultivate it. But also companies that are in the MJ space that have no interaction with the plant whatsoever, right? They just sell, they're retailers like High Tide and Fire and Flower, right? So picks and shovels and ETFs are a great way to fight FOMO and to just diversify, right? If you don't want to actively manage and look into one stock, right? All right, let's take a look at the chat here. XLY, I've been stuck in for 5 years. Yeah, exactly, right? And that's the thing. The longer the base, the higher in space, the greater the accumulation, the greater the expansion, right? And there's going to be a time where, if you just look at retail, right, the retail investor mindset right now, the sentiment in MJ has never been this bad. I would argue that it's never been this bad, right? Anytime anything happens, people just say, what a garbage investment. MJ sector is a dead sector. It's lost money, right? So when 90% of retail is thinking a certain way, I usually think the opposite, right? And there's no way that MJ is down and out and dead money. There's no way that it's not going to go back and recover and go back to all-time highs. Like I said, we're still not even legal in the most important country in the world, the United States. So again, when someone says that MJ's down 98% and it's not going to recover, they don't understand how markets work, and they didn't have realistic expectations, right? Those people are just they're so down and in the red that they can't. It's denial, right? It's that denial phase, right? That's the investor psychology cycle. Just look it up, give it a Google. It has all the emotions that you feel, and then near the bottom you start to feel anger, and then you get you start to be skeptical. As it starts to reverse, you start to question it, and you say, no, this will never happen, right? And then you get into the disbelief phase, right, where it starts to go, oh, okay, well, maybe this is going to reverse, and then you start to feel FOMO again, and then you buy the temporary top, and then we come down and we form a higher low, right? And then most people get shaken out again on another pullback because they buy big green candles, and then a big red one ensues, and then they think that, I was going to be a wizard. I was going to time the bottom. It shouldn't go down after I buy. That's just not how markets work, right? Again, we don't have to time the bottom. We just need to be buying near the bottom. And if you've been holding for 5 years, how long have you been buying? That's another question as well. If you've been stuck in it, did you buy it all 5 years ago and you haven't added ever since, or have you been dollar cost averaging? was your plan initially to dollar cost average? Because that's a big thing too, right? When you're entering a stock, having a plan before you even buy it, right? So obviously looking at a chart, not buying when things are at an all-time high is probably step number one, right? You don't want to buy an asset that's run hundreds of percent and that's at an all-time high if you're going to invest for the long term. It just wouldn't make any sense. I mean, you know, it's probably going to go past the all-time highs, but don't you think you might be able to get in at a better price, right? So again, just looking at a chart can help, right? Again, I've said many times, if you don't even know what RSI is, this indicator alone, if you just sell when we're near overbought on the monthly and buy when we're near oversold, and you just tune out all mainstream media after that, you'll probably do fine, right? But most people just can't handle the media and the FUD and the articles and the bankruptcies and the remember that article saying that if you had MJ stocks in Canada, you wouldn't be able to travel to the US? Yeah. That was a bunch of baloney, right? We all knew that was not going to be the case, right? That was just to get them, the market makers, to get retail to panic and sell them their cheap shares before we saw one more final leg up in the MJ space. And then once it started to go up again, everybody started to feel good and they started to buy it again when it was near all-time highs. And then we had the bear market and it's been brutal, right? Like I said, from February 2021 highs, the average is down 80 to 90%, and Oxley is no different. If we take a look from the high to the low, we're down 87%, right? Just from February 2021. So I feel you. It's been a long 5 years, but I went through this with crypto. I went through this before with many other stocks as well, and tech stocks. I held Tesla, I don't know for how long. It was 3 or 4 years before it did anything. And the same thing happened. All the analysts were saying, oh, Toyota makes more cars in a month than Tesla does in a year. And Tesla's never going to see the light of day. They're going bankrupt. They're never going to make a profit. Now they're worth more than all the automakers combined, right? And again, this is when I was holding it here. So again, this is factoring in the split that already occurred, but it was around $200. And I remember it dropped under $200. And I remember telling everybody back here in like 2018, I remember messaging one of my good buddies. I said, hey, Tesla just dropped under $200. This is like a screaming buy. Anything under $200 is an absolute steal. And then we went from, after the factoring in the split, all the way down from $36 all the way up to $1,200, right? That's 3,438%. And then we had this split here, so it was a 5 for 1. So you would just do 35. So the low there was 35. Times that by 5, you get 175. So like I said, it was just under 200. And then everybody started to capitulate. Nobody wanted to buy Tesla. Nobody was talking about it. All the analysts said it was dead money, right? Don't buy it. And then it went on the biggest run of its life. And that's what's going to happen to MSOS and MJ once we legalize. And it's only going to happen once, right? People... why did they do this? Why did they crash the MJ market this bad? It's because there's so many diehard fans of MJ, right? And people they're just so passionate about it, right? And they throw a lot of their hard-earned money at it. And, a lot of people probably thought, even for the case of Oxley, when it was back here at 50 cents, probably thought it was cheap. And then it dropped down here to 12 cents. And they said, oh my God, I can't believe we're at 12 cents. This is so cheap. And then it came up here and it hit 50 cents. They feel like a genius. And then it comes down here and now it hits 6.5 cents. And now it's down 50% from where they thought it was cheap and it couldn't get any cheaper. And here we are down another 50%, right? So how do they shake out retail? It has to be a long drawn out process, and it has to be a drop of about 98%. So if we take a look from the high to the low, look at that, 98%, right? And the same thing with Tesla, the same thing with Amazon. But it's almost worse for MJ because MJ there's just way more passionate people. People were passionate about the internet, like all the techies and stuff like that, right? Most people didn't understand it, but it was similar, right? We had a lot of people and the young people and the visionaries who were very passionate about the internet in the early days, but that's what they do. How do you shake out retail who says they're diamond hands, they're never selling, the internet's going to change the world? How do you shake them out? You drop it 95 to 98%. That'll change everybody, right? It doesn't matter I know people who said they'd never sell their MJ positions, and now they're finally capitulating after 98% drawdowns. They're finally capitulating. But again, knowing what I know, I just saved money on the cash. I just saved money on the side, so cash on the side. I said for a while now that cash has been my biggest position. It's even more. I own more cash than I do real estate investments. And then after real estate is crypto, and then MJ. I'm actually getting close to owning. I have about the same amount dollar-wise in crypto as I do in MJ now. I'm getting close. Like I would say, maybe $5,000 to $10,000 in the difference. Like it's very close, right? Just because of how beaten down MJ is. I've been slowly dollar cost averaging, and now my MJ portfolio dollar-wise is very close to my crypto portfolio dollar-wise. But then I have real estate, and then I have, like I said, even more cash on top of that on the side to just buy this dip, right? And to keep dollar cost averaging. I'm looking at buying another condo. Quite a bit of my cash is going to go towards that. Again, so diversification, right? And having more than just Oxley, having more than just Tilray, having more than just Hexo in your portfolio, having more than just Canadian LPs, licensed producers, Canadian MJ companies, having some American ones as well, having some ETFs, having some retailers like High Tide and Fire and Flower, things like that, right? But like I said, the reason why we're dropping for 4 to 5 years after hitting all-time highs, like realistically, since we had all-time highs here, we haven't seen back here, all MJ was busting to new highs and blue sky breakouts, right? And back here, when CGC and Afria was going to all-time highs, there was only really Afria, maybe a couple other names like IIPR, High Tide might even been one of them as well. But essentially, we only had a few companies back here in February that hit all-time highs. We didn't even hit all-time highs on CGC. It was basically an exact double top. So the fact that that happened tells me that we didn't really enter a new full-blown bull market. This was just a corrective phase of a bear market, in my opinion, and a relief rally. It ended up being a massive relief rally, right? And that was when the Dems took control. But ultimately, this is all part of the same pullback, in my opinion. All right, we were down 85%, and now we're down 96%. What does that remind you of, right? It reminds me of Amazon. And keep in mind, Amazon was selling books and then, just regular products. We're selling an illegal substance in the United States, right? So again, it's you're comparing apples to oranges, but the trend and the overall psychology is the same. In order to get people to really shake out, right? Like what they're trying to do is they're trying to shake out people like me who have 5 figures, 6 figures invested, and they want me to capitulate. I will never capitulate, ever. I will only buy more. It was money I was willing to lose. I'm not just invested in one MJ stock. I have crypto, I have real estate, I have cash, I have a hedge position with a short position on the S&P 500. I will never capitulate because I put money that I was willing to let sit for 5 to 10 years because I had realistic expectations. Excuse me, I got a cough. All right, we're going on an hour here. I got to get some water. Where did I leave off? Okay, so yeah, I had realistic expectations. I had a realistic time frame, and I had a plan before I entered. My plan before I entered was I don't need to nail the bottom, and if I buy and it goes lower, I'm okay with that. Because as long as I'm buying near the bottom and I have a realistic time frame and outlook, and if I'm looking 5 to 10 years out and I know that it's still not even legal in the most important country, the United States, it's going to be at least 5 to 10 years, right? And yeah, I didn't invest any more than I was willing to lose. My plan was to just dollar cost average, and that's just been my goal, right? Is just to accumulate as much as I can, not invest any more than I'm willing to lose, also diversify, and just continue to dollar cost average until the US legalizes. I also have, here's something else that you can do. If you're having trouble dealing, sleeping at night, things like that, there's a good chance you went too maybe invested more than you were willing to lose, or you went too heavy too quickly. Something you can do as well is have a no-touch account, right, where you don't log into it and you only log into it to buy, but you use a lot less capital in that longer-term account because you're not going to sell it, right? And you're just dollar cost averaging. So that's what I did. Is I have some MJ in a long-term no-touch account, and it's in a TFSA here in Canada, which is tax-free sheltered. And it's meant for longer term holds. So I'm not touching that. I'm letting that sit, and I'll let it sit until the US legalizes and we see that run up and the hype into that. If I have to let it sit for 5 years, 10 years, I'm okay with that because that was a part of my original plan. Again, I think the problem is with most people is they have unrealistic expectations. They didn't develop a plan before they went in, and they probably went in a lot quicker than they should have. Maybe you didn't scale in. Maybe you didn't dollar cost average, right? Maybe you didn't diversify into other MJ stock. Like there's so many things I could keep going on forever. But again, everybody's situation is going to be different. But we need to learn from this, right? If nothing else, this is a great learning opportunity because it's not going to be the last time they do this, right? It's not the first. We can probably count on. We probably can't even count on all of our hands that are in this stream at the moment how many times that this has happened where we've seen 90 to 98% pullbacks. Some have gone to zero. Look at Luna, Terra Luna. The crypto was at $120 a coin, and then it went to zero, less than zero, like not even a penny, right? So it can happen, right? And it can always be worse. But yeah, I thought I'd just spend a little bit more time on that. We did have a weekly bear flag target of 8 cents. And, sorry, this is CGC. But similar thing, we hit the weekly bear flag there. We had a weekly bear flag target on Oxley, and it hit 8 cents. And we actually went even further than that. So there's not really much in terms of support here. It's just psychological from here. So we'll be looking at 5 cents from here. But we do have earnings coming up on third week of August. So that'll be something to keep an eye out for. But like I said, once we see a catalyst, we know that the amendment to the defense bill has been approved by the House, and we could see a bill from the Senate introduced next week. And all it's going to take is safe banking uplisting into the NASDAQ and the NYSE for some of these MSOs, and we'll easily see 100, 200, 300% moves in the MJ space, right? And it's going to happen just like yesterday where no one's expecting it, and we jump up 20, 30% right out of nowhere off the low of the day. We did start the daily bounce today, and we could be looking at a bit of a inverse head and shoulders here. I didn't really draw that to perfection, but it could be looking at something like that if we do come up and we form a bit of a right shoulder. And then we could expect about a measured move up to around the 10 cent area. If we do confirm this inverse head and shoulders, just a bearish, bullish reversal pattern that you usually see at the end of a downtrend. But yeah, it's just following the rest of the sector at the moment, and a little bit weaker than some of our names because it's already confirmed its weekly bear flag target. But looking at 5 cents support, and then really no weekly resistance up to about 13 cents. And we'll be watching 10 cents as well from that inverse head and shoulders if we do confirm. Doc.v, sure, let's take a look. Wow. Cloud MD software. So this kind of reminds me of like MSOS. Man, those charts look the same. Doc MSOS. All right, so yeah, just taking a look here. We are at all-time lows. So we had the all-time low there at 36.5 cents, and we hit 37. So it's essentially a triple bottom now for the last 3 months off of that support. We do have earnings coming up. Looks like, well, not for a bit. September 1st, tentative for that, for September 1st. If we take a look at the weekly time frame, looks like we have a weekly bear flag here as well. So we just go from high to the low, grab our trend line, take from high to the low, extrapolate that out, use the 0.382 fib. Anything under that 0.382 at 58 cents is a weekly bear flag. And here we are very close to confirming it. So if we got above above the 0.32 fib at 58 cents, that would have negated the bear flag. But now we're still under that level, and we formed a lower high, which is the flag. And now in order to confirm, we need to lose support, which is the low at 36.5 cents and the all-time low. So we're very close to confirming here. And if we do confirm, then we just take from the high to the low, we take that measured move, and then come over here, we can grab this horizontal ray, and you can see that the target is about 23 cents. So all about 36.5 cents. If we lose that, we confirm the weekly bear flag, and we're targeting around 23 cents. On the daily time frame, breaking to a lower low. We're not daily oversold yet, but we should be weekly. Actually, we're seeing a little bit of hidden bullish RSI divergence here, getting out of weekly oversold territory, but we're breaking to lower highs and lower lows on the price action. And on the monthly time frame, not monthly oversold either, but not a whole lot of history. But we did get pretty extreme there on the weekly RSI. We're down at 2022, down at 22. Yeah, 22. So it's definitely due for a pretty massive bounce. If we take a look at the monthly chart, like I said, no monthly resistance until about 90 cents. And here we confirmed a monthly downtrend. So this was a major warning sign, right? When we had the high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This wasn't a very clear, we didn't really form a clear high or low here on the monthly time frame. So you could even say here is when we lost the monthly down, or when we confirmed the monthly downtrend. So when we lost $1.68, formed a lower high and then the lower low. As soon as we lost 168 back here in July of 2021 was really when we confirmed the monthly downtrend. And even if you just exited there when we were absolutely confident that the monthly downtrend was confirmed, that would have saved you another 78% of downside. So again, that's another reason why we created Powell Group was it's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not instant gratification. You can't get rich quick. If you do, you're extremely lucky, and you probably have the same luck as winning the lottery, right? But another reason why we created Powell Group was to filter out all the noise, because if you're in all these Reddit groups, things like that, there's a lot of FUD and people that just shooting off, and it gets a little overwhelming at times, right? And another reason why we created Powell Group was to identify trends, right? How important it is to know what a bear market is and a bull market is. And just, if I could only teach you one thing, and if you ask me, what's the most important thing you can learn as a new trader and as a new investor, I would say learn how to identify what a monthly and a weekly uptrend or downtrend is. If you just know that, you're probably like or even the RSI, right? If you just buy when we're overbought, or sell when we're overbought and buy when we're oversold, those are two very simple ways that you can identify. And if you know what a monthly uptrend is, you know what a bull market is. And if you know what a monthly downtrend is, you know what a bear market is. Bull market just means we're going up, and bear market just means we're going down. And when you're in a monthly uptrend, we're going up, right? Because we're trending up, uptrend. And when we're in a monthly downtrend, bear market, because we're going down, right? It's that simple. So if I can only teach you one thing, it would be monthly uptrends and downtrends. And then aside from that, how to use RSI. And it's a very, very simple indicator. When we're down below 30, we're oversold. And when we're above 70, we're overbought, right? Generally, when we're overbought, things are overvalued. And when we're oversold, things are undervalued, right? But hopefully that helps. Doc V, like I said, could be due for some more downside there with some bear flag targets. What we got here, Doc? Dot V. Where are we at here? This is on the weekly time frame. So we have the 10-week moving average there at 42 cents. On the daily time frame, we have the 50-day moving average there at 43 cents. So that's going to be very, very strong resistance to get over. If we close a daily candle and a weekly candle over 43 cents, that's going to be very notable. We could probably expect a pretty big move after that. But we're still below the 10-week moving average. Stochastic still has yet to cross bullish with the black line below the red line. See the MACD here, we have the black above the red and trending higher. That's perceived as bullish. But here we're trending lower and the black's below the red. So we still got some work to do there, and we still got to get back above that 10-week moving average. And like I said, 50-day moving average there right at 43. So we'll say if we can get a daily and weekly candle close over 43 cents, we can likely expect a pretty big move up to around the mid-50s. After that, 200-day at 87 cents. Nothing on the weekly moving averages nearby until $1. So like I said, it's one of those names that it's just beaten down so bad that we're likely due for a pretty big move soon. It's just a question of when. Look how far away we are just from monthly EMA 12. Just to get back to monthly EMA 12, we're looking at a 135% move. Kind of reminds me of BYND. I said this monthly inside bar, if we break this multiple monthly inside bar bullish, could be a nice trade. So the resistance was 27.68. If you just entered when we broke that, that'd have been a 25% move, right? So hopefully that helps. Just watch that key support there. That does look like it could be breaking. Let's go Hexo. Yep. Lots to do, lots of work to do yet, but didn't drop to a lower low today and a new all-time low, so we'll take that as a win. Oxley, though, yeah, brutal. It's been brutal on all MJ, right? Certainly not fun to look at the prices being down, but to be honest, and a lot of it, I've noticed the sentiment change in Pow Group too. Like, you know, when we drop to lower lows, people are like, awesome, I'm glad I didn't buy and FOMO in, and I'm glad I left my buy order in at a lower price, right? Because here we are dropping to lower lows, and you know, people are kind of happy that the price is going down so that their order can fill. You know, that's really the name of the game, is to switch your mindset. I would say that like my favorite quote of all time is, the secret to your success or failure is hidden in your daily routine. And a lot of what's in your daily routine has to do with your mindset, your belief level, and your consistent action, your continuous learning, and having an open mind, and trying to learn, have a mentor, learn from people who have what it is that you're looking to achieve, right? And then failing, making mistakes, learning from it, and just repetition. Keep getting back up, right? You're going to fail. You're going to have some challenges, right? But that's what shapes us as men and women, right? That's how we become professionals. Money, 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 money. Can you look at index before it closed? Can you look at which index? I'm not sure if you mean SPY, but yeah, obviously it's closed now. But if you meant SPY, no, nice close here. Closed pretty much at the high of the day. 385.25 is the high. Closed at 385.13, sitting pretty much flat here after hours. But again, we're still not confirming daily uptrends, and we're in weekly downtrends, monthly downtrends. We're on downtrends on pretty much all of our time frames, and the fact that we can't even confirm a daily uptrend is a little concerning, right? Shows a lack of it shows bulls are weak, right? And that bears have the upper hand. The only glimmer of hope here and possibility for bulls, and really the last stand that they can make, is we form this higher low here on the weekly time frame, and then we break to a higher high, confirm a daily and a weekly uptrend in one go at the same time. So that's a possibility, but it's all about 362. But nice close there on SPY. But again, we're still right in the middle of that range. Essentially, we're about as far away from resistance as we are support. So we're essentially stuck in this equilibrium here. And if we break to a higher high here, we'll have back in a daily uptrend and a weekly uptrend. So that's the best case scenario that we can expect. So what's the key level of resistance we're watching? 393.16. If we break that, we confirm a weekly uptrend. And then at that point, we zoom out to the monthly, and we could potentially see the monthly bounce start to take place. You know, we've only got a couple weeks left. So in terms of trading days, we've only got about 10 trading days left in the month. So what I think will likely happen is we tighten up. We have this inside bar here, and then we just tighten up into next month, and then we get a break either down or up. And it's entirely possible we see another leg down, but I'm definitely thinking that we're going to see a bounce at some point soon. If not next month, the month after that. And typically the summer, you know, sell in May and go away. There's usually a lull, drop off in activity, especially after we were in a huge bull market for multiple years and ran 120%. When the average return per year is about 8%, right? So we should have only been up like 16%, right, on a normal year. From the lows there, 16% or even 20% would be 255. So that would be from the lows there. Of course, it was a black swan, but like on average, you know, we only make 10% a year. So we should be only up 20%, and we were up 120%, right? So you need to expect a pretty big pullback, right? We're only down 25% or so on the S&P from the all-time highs. I think we could see something like this, where we come a lot lower. Come back down, test these the support line here as well. Lines up well with the wave 3 correction wave from the .com fractal that I laid over that as well. Again, it doesn't play down identical to the second, the day, the minute, the week, but overall, this trend has been pretty similar. Look at the price action in the background. Considering adding more Hexo, current market cap 83 million, but thinking it could drop to around 50 million within the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a great pickup at these levels, in my opinion. You're at all-time lows, right? So you can't really, if you're looking to invest for the long term, can't really ask for much more than that. But yeah, according to Yahoo Finance, we're at 120 million market cap. You're probably thinking US because you're in the US and there's a lot of US citizens interested in Hexo. Don't see that for any other LP though. I think I've actually done Tilray videos and then people actually end up asking me stuff about Hexo. It's kind of funny, but yeah, it's just incredible the amount of interest from the US side of things. Like there's so many retail investors in the US that haven't even tried Hexo that just love Hexo and can't wait to try their products. I haven't seen that happen with any other LP, licensed producer or Canadian company, MJ company. I don't even see that happen vice versa either. I don't see any Canadians saying they can't wait to try an MSO or an American company's products, right? So what does that tell you? Warren Buffett says find a company that with products that are changing people's lives that you believe in and that are great products, and find stuff that people can't live without. And Hexo's definitely fits the bar there. Obviously they have some issues, but they're building for global domination, right? While most MJ companies are just focusing on a couple provinces or a couple states, Hexo is expanding. They've been shipping to Israel and Malta, and they have a facility in Fort Collins in northern Colorado. They've got multiple mergers and acquisitions going on here in Canada. They're number one in Canada. They hit their goal is to be the number one in Canada by recreational market share. And now they're moving on to become a top 3 globally. That's their next goal, right? So again, they have the foundation. It's not like they're working on the foundation. They already have it, right? And now they have Tilray deal, which is going to make even, like they said the other day when Tilray announced the press release, it said the next evolution of Canadian MJ. And I truly believe it is going to be the next evolution, unlike anything we've ever seen before. And they're going to completely move on to shape the industry together. But again, I would consider adding some Tilray as well. Again, not telling you to buy or sell or hold anything, but it's not financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only. But again, just holding a Hexo I think would be a mistake because there's so many good companies, so many prices out there. Hexo is my biggest holding, don't get me wrong, but just only holding Hexo would be a bit of a mistake in my opinion. You could end up playing out even better than expected, right? It could be the best decision of your life. But with more risk, with more reward comes more risk, right? Late to the party. Well, you made it. Welcome, welcome. You bet. Do you think the Senate can pass anytime soon? Well, I do know that they were saying that there was a lot more support for it than they initially thought. Personally, I'm not really a politics guy, and I'm from Canada, so I don't really follow U.S. politics that much. I usually just kind of look at the charts, and based on what the charts are saying, we're down 98% on a lot of our names from all-time highs in MJ. So just thinking about things from a charting and a logical perspective, how much further are we really going to drop from here? And we've been seeing good news after good news after good news that hasn't really moved the market. So what's probably going to move the market, in my opinion, is going to be safe banking, uplisting to NASDAQ and the NYSE, or full-blown legalization progress. I think we're going to get safe banking first because, again, all those financial institutions that manipulate the markets in every single market on planet Earth, right? The Vanguards, the Morgan Stanleys, the BlackRocks, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs of the world. They want to get positioned first so that they can get their big money like this into the MSOs and the American companies, right? So I think we're going to see safe banking as part of the defense bill. I think there's a good chance that that can pass. And like they said, it's a must-pass bill leading into the fall elections. And the Republicans are leading in all the polls right now, so they might use this as a way to get back some voters' confidence and actually do something. But I think it has a good chance of passing. What I think could happen is the initial bill gets dropped. There's multiple bills right now. There's the MORE Act as well. There's also a possibility of more bills coming through. And there was a Republican bill that was backed by Amazon and Apple as well. So what I think could happen is we see safe banking pass first. And then what I think also you have to keep in mind too, right now, what are they doing in Congress? They're focusing a lot on crypto regulation and how to regulate stable coins, and especially with the Terra Luna collapse and the algorithmic stable coin. And then we had Celsius go down and all these other platforms, right? And then you're starting to see USD Tether lose its peg to the US dollar, right? So we're starting to see. And if you take a look at crypto has the same amount of users right now, active users, as the internet did in 1997. So right around 1997 is where we had the massive breakout, right? So what I think could happen is as crypto gets too close to 1 billion users, I think we're only at like 150 million right now for comparison's sake, which was about the same in 1997, the internet. Right now, the internet's about 5 billion users. So active users. So imagine if crypto's only at 150 million and we're technically in like the 1997 era of the internet, that when there was that many users in the internet, there's still so much growth to be had. So what I think is going to happen is they're going to pass crypto regulation. They're going to define some clear rules of the road. I was thinking about this today. And then after they pass crypto regulation, crypto will have, full green light go and all systems go. It'll have all the clarity in the world. It'll have the rules of the road, and then they can just watch it fly. And then we'll probably see a blow off top into the end of the year, into early 2023. And then I think into 2023, after we get safe banking and uplisting the NASDAQ and the NYSE, is where we get Congress start to pivot away from crypto. Crypto legislation will all be done. And you got to think crypto's bull market started before MJ, so it'll likely finish, and then MJ's bear market will end and then start a new bull market whenever crypto stops its bull market and enters a bear market. So I think they're inverse. And then after they pass some sort of crypto regulation, like I said, they'll let it fly. We'll see a huge blow off top. The markets will go insane. Maybe they pass a Bitcoin spot ETF in the US. And and then in 2023, after safe banking uplisting to NASDAQ, NYSE, we see Congress focus on getting MJ passed. And then we potentially see maybe into 2024 is where we see, actual full-blown legalization. So again, there's so many different scenarios that could play out. They could pass it next week and, full-blown legalization happens in a couple of months. Who knows? They could not pass it for 2 years or 3 years, right? We kind of have to be, again, having realistic expectations, saying, I'm okay with 5 to 10 year horizon in MJ. And anything less than that is just a bonus, right? And you gotta remember too, like, are you trading? Are you investing? Are you putting in money and letting it sit? When are you letting it sit till? Are you using a dollar value? Are you going to sell when it hits a certain price? Or are you going to sell when a certain event occurs, like the US legalizes? These are all things you kind of have to get clear on, and it's going to help you stay the course, right? But I do think that we'll be watching crypto for like a barometer type of thing. We'll be seeing whether or not crypto legislation could get passed. They said that they think that it has a good chance of passing some sort of stablecoin legislation and regulation, before the end of the year. So if that happens, if we get crypto regulation soon, then, like I said, I think we could see safe banking and uplisting the NASDAQ or NYSE at some point shortly thereafter. Hi, Rod. Can you check out Ride if you get a chance? Sure. Take a quick peek. We are coming on an hour and 9 minutes, so we'll try to wrap it up. So weekly bounce underway at the moment. we were in a weekly downtrend. And at the moment, we have the low, high, higher, low. You can make the argument here that we're in a weekly uptrend with the low, high, higher, low, and higher high, which means zoom out to the monthly time frame, and yet we're getting close to starting the monthly bounce. So we have no resistance on the monthly up till about 379. And then after that, all the way up at $8.93. It was a daily uptrend confirming here as well with the low, high, higher, low, and higher high. Looks like it was a daily bull flag, actually. No, actually, we pulled back quite a bit more, but we did confirm a daily uptrend with a bull cross of EMA 12 and 26. So as long as 168 holds from here, we're still in a daily uptrend. And we close pretty much on our key resistance here at 198, just a cent above it. After that, we're looking at 215, and then nothing on the daily time frame until about 273. But daily uptrend confirmed. You can technically say that the weekly uptrend is confirming as well. So it's definitely standing out as pretty strong here. Increases the odds that we could see the monthly bounce. And again, another chart that just looks like BYND. So BYND had a multiple monthly inside bars, and then we had resistance at 2768, tightening range, and then it broke bullish. Now let's go back to ride. Multiple inside bars. Are we about to break bullish? We just confirmed a daily and weekly uptrend. So key resistance is going to be 215. If we break 215, we could easily see a move up to about that 379, even EMA 12 sitting there at 422. So if you're looking for an entry on this one, what you could do is you could enter on a bull break of this monthly inside bar and set your stop below the low. The low is at 149. So you could enter, say one way to play it is if we break 215, and you might be looking for a long-term hold, right? Maybe you're not going to set a stop loss and you're just going to dollar cost average, right? Again, this is part of the plan before you enter. Most people just put $500 or $1,000 or whatever they do, they normally do, and they don't develop a plan so that when price starts going up, they have no plan what to do if price is going up. Should I sell? Well, I never thought about that. And then if price starts going down, they didn't think about that either. So then they start to make emotional decisions. So you should think, am I going to set a stop loss? Am I going to dollar cost average and not set a stop loss? Am I going to be holding for 5 to 10 years? Am I going to take a profit at a certain price level? Am I going to wait for something to happen? Are we going to wait? Am I going to wait for, a catalyst or some news event to happen, right? There's so many different ways you can play it, but personally, I would be looking for a monthly inside bar bull break. You could enter on a break of that monthly inside bar breaking bullish. So 215, if we break that, like I said, we've got about 77% until our weekly resistance, but then EMA 12 would be about almost 100% move away just on a monthly inside bar bull break. So that's something you can play it just like the BYND chart. Multiple inside bar broke bullish, and then from there we saw currently we're seeing 22%, almost 25% of upside. And then like if this one hits EMA 12, that's about 114%, 115%, right? So a very similar type of trade. So hopefully that helps. And on the 10-week moving average, we're back above it. So we're looking good. We had a bull cross of the stochastic, the MACD. If we can close over 191, that's going to be huge. Looking real good. And then if the S&P 500 can set a temporary bottom here pretty soon, we could even be lining up for a golden cross with the 50 crossing up or below up through the 200-day moving average. So watch for that as well. I just got a reminder here to check Jed McCaleb's balance. Let's see if he's all out of XRP. Oh, he didn't sell today. Crazy. This guy had 9 billion XRP as part of his severance when he left Ripple, the company, not Ripple, the cryptocurrency, Ripple, the company. Ripple has private equity. They did a Series A, Series B, Series C funding round. You can actually own Ripple shares in the company, which gives you governing rights in the company. You can vote for the board of directors, all that stuff, right? But if you buy XRP, you do not own Ripple, the company. You own XRP, the cryptocurrency that's decentralized, and Ripple owns less than 5% of the validators on the network. So I get tons of people that still don't understand how to differentiate the two. And I personally think that was all part of the plan. It was to make people think that it was centralized and that Ripple was centralized, right? But anyway, he sold 9 billion XRP. But my question is, if all of the US can't really easily buy XRP, and we're in a bear market, and most retail isn't buying, who the hell is buying all this XRP from him? Who's he selling it to? 9 billion XRP? Wow, like it's unfathomable. Like where's all that? Who's buying it? Who's doing all the buying? And he's only down to 5 million from 9 billion. And he's been selling on average about 4 million a day. So by this logic, he could be out, if he does end up selling today, which he hasn't yet. If he does sell today, we could be pretty much out of XRP today, if not by tomorrow. And then if not, maybe next week, but we'll see what happens with it. But pretty crazy. Who's he been selling to? XRP, XLM, Hexo, the laggard triad that will make a biblical pump one day. Yeah, I'm of the same thinking. XRP's my... Actually, I might own more Hexo now than I do dollar-wise than I do XRP. I've been really dollar cost averaging into Hexo. And I just did my tally the other day. I'm up to close to 70,000 Hexo shares. So I say Hexo is my biggest investment at the moment, and then XRP, and then XLM. Yeah. Tilray's up there too. I have quite a bit of Tilray. Then I got like 11 other MJ stocks. I got like 10 other cryptos. I got mutual funds. I've got a ton of cash, real estate, other non-related crypto and MJ stocks. So, but yeah, if I could only pick 3 investments, I would pick XRP, XLM, and Hexo for sure. You're welcome. Thanks for joining the stream. And thanks everybody else for joining the stream as well. BFF seems like a sleeper. Pure Sun Farms always has top sales and flower SKUs. Yeah, that's like their number one seller. I think they're the number one in terms of that category. Yeah, I think it's a great pick. It had a weekly bear flag just like most of our MJ. And we'll see whether or not that is still the case. Yes, it is. So anything on this weekly bounce, we are starting the weekly bounce here now. But it's been weak. Like we haven't even really started the weekly bounce yet. And then Tilray just starting its weekly bounce, but it's also a weekly bear flag as well. CGC was a weekly bear flag and it actually hit its target. So we were targeting 233 and we hit 213. So yeah, VFF I don't think is going anywhere. I think this is a great long-term pick. The only difference is with VFF too is they sell more than just MJ, right? Like they're in, like there's so many different business models. Like Tilray has a distribution business, right? Like let's just bring it up real quick. Where is it? Come on. Got to be one here. Tilray Brands earning report. Of course, it's just the company profile. Let's bring it up real quick. So you just go investors, financials. And news release, interim financial statements. If you've ever used CDAR, I highly encourage you to use that website. This is where a lot of the documents come out before it hits the public, right? But let's just scroll down. So they should break this down. There you go. So if we look by alcohol, beverage, alcohol, they had another part of the where they broke it down, like there was a distribution business. There we go. So MJ costs, beverage, alcohol costs, distribution costs, wellness costs. So they've got multiple different types of business, like arms, right? So they're into actual alcohol. For example, VFF isn't into alcohol, right? VFF is into like other agriculture type things, right? They're in, like, as far as I'm aware, they even like have like tomato farms and all that stuff, right? So Pure Sun Farms is just a subsidiary, right? You have Village Farms, Pure Sun Farms. So just a very different business altogether, right? And then Tilray is a very different business. Tilray, and then Canopy is a very different business. Canopy has stores in Bickle, which is they make like vaporizers and things like that. They also have a majority stake in BioSteel, which is a sports drink. They have like partnerships with Martha Stewart and CBD, things like that. They're also into retail, so they have Tokyo Smoke. So they actually have retail locations and hire retail staff, and they sell like Hexo products, for example. And I actually went into a Tokyo Smoke when I was driving across Canada last summer, and I asked the employee working at Tokyo Smoke what his favorite LP was. He said Hexo, right? So it's just completely different business model. All Hexo does is only focuses on MJ. That's it. It just manufactures MJ products and cool ones, right? It's very innovative. So they're kind of the innovator, the manufacturer, and the products company, whereas CGC is more of like a retailer and mass CPG. Hexo is going to be like a mass CPG, but only focused on MJ products and no retail, right? Absolutely no retail, no alcohol. They have Molson Coors partnership, but they created a trust joint venture, which is only MJ drinks, right? That and only that is their thing. It says it right on their website. So again, just completely, that's why I say diversification is key, right? Like Tilray is such a different business compared to VFF, and such a different business compared to CGC and Hexo, right? They're all very extremely different businesses. But yeah, I think VFF is a great long-term pick. And like I said, just like all MJ, it's just following each other, right? We need weekly and monthly uptrends. But if we take a look at the highs of February 2021, let me guess, we're down between 80 and 90%, 87%, right? I didn't even have to guess because I know that everything peaked in February 2021 and everything's down on average between 70, 80, 90%. And when it's Canadian MJ, it's usually between 80 and 90%. So just as another casing point, how much is SNDL down from February 2021? 92%, right? Tilray, 95. Anyway, everybody gets the point now. But yeah, you're welcome. So it's a great company. I do like them personally. I'm not like a super, I don't love their products. Like I'm not a repeat. I don't buy their products all the time or really ever, but that doesn't mean that they're not a good company and they won't do well long term. Personally, I don't know a whole lot about VFF, but just in terms of technicals, we are a monthly inside bar. So resistance at 313, support at 252, and we're likely due for a massive bounce at some point soon. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it will do well long term. And we'll just take a quick peek here at the NASDAQ. So we are trying to get back above the 10-week moving average, and we are seeing a bull cross of the stochastic and the MACD. So it's looking good. It's just like all MJ, it's still got a lot of proving to do. We still need to confirm weekly and monthly uptrends. And you could make the case that we're actually changing the weekly trend here with the low, high, higher low, and higher high. And we're actually confirmed a daily uptrend as well with the low, high, higher low, and higher high. So yeah, actually VFF is looking pretty good here. And then we have pretty much no resistance on the weekly up until $6.55. We got some EMA resistance there. We got EMA 12 at 327, 26 at 420. EMA 26 at 420, nice. But yeah, you're looking at about 10% to 44% just to the EMAs. And then from current levels to our weekly resistance in the price action is about 125% from here. So like I said, it's due for a big move at some point soon. And like I said, it's looking good here on the weekly time frame. If we can close the weekly candle over 294 USD, that will be massive. We could be due for a pretty big move, double-digit move, maybe as high as 50 to 100%. And again, that would likely come off some sort of sector news, right? We'd likely see some sort of safe banking in the defense bill or Chuck Schumer dropping a bill, that type of thing. All right, going to end it there. Thanks so much for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. I hope you found value in this video today. If you do know of anybody who would also find value, make sure to share it around and smash the like one more time. It helps support me in the channel. And you can subscribe, tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future live streams and videos. Hope you have a great Friday evening and the rest of your weekend. And I'm going to be traveling this weekend, going to Sylvan Lake here in Alberta. It's a beautiful lake just south, about an hour and a half south of Edmonton. And really looking forward to that. And just relaxing, getting off the computer, and getting outside and enjoying. And it's been pretty awesome having everything back to normal after having multiple years of lockdowns and things like that, and it's just finally back to real life. So it can be pretty mentally exhausting looking at prices and things like that, and when everything's going down, not just crypto, tech, the broader market, MJ, everything's right now is just completely cratering. It can be very mentally taxing on you as well. So just make sure to just take a deep breath, step back, enjoy live in the now, enjoy the moment, and it's only money, right? And we can always learn from anything that we've been experiencing over the last few months and the last couple of years, right? It's been a true test of our patience, and that's what I love so much about actually just investing in general. Has really taught me to develop a lot more patience. And I wasn't very patient before, but I definitely understand now that patience is a virtue. All right, going to end it there. Thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you in the next video.